Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio. I am your host, Kelly Meehan, a citizen of the universe and a passage keeper and mentor for our new Earth children. I believe we are entering into a new psychic structure of our reality, and it is meant to embody deeper trust and ways into solid self-love and fearless integrity. Our new world energy of spirit babies needs us to consciously create within conception, trust pregnancy, and have freedom to birth and parent from innate wisdom. This is Spirit Baby Radio. Welcome to episode 240, April 2026. Spirit Baby Stories, the new earth of children of today. Real spirit baby stories, real connection, and real truth. Where spirituality and science meet to expand how we understand life itself. I'm honored to welcome special guests, Christine and William. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And I love this. I've connected with Christine on, I don't know how many occasions, I'm not really sure, I can't remember. But when I put out the message, I would love who has a spirit baby story, and you jumped in so beautifully, and literally a list of all these amazing experiences between the worlds of earth and spirituality. And I really am so grateful to have both of you here, especially just to share, the parts of your journey and the messages and the energy, and maybe even sharing, what has changed on the journey, what has changed within you, even through, I know you will talk about a bit of the birth losses and stuff. So tell me, what actually made you reach out? Were you like, oh, were you nervous? Were you like
Well, I think first time having the miscarriage, I was aware of your services, and so I kind of wanted to heal with that. And your session was just absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
So I highly recommend anyone who experiences any type of miscarriage to definitely use your services because they're extremely, extremely healing. Since then, I picked up the Spirit Baby Communication book to continue with the healing process and just actually tap into that spirit baby communication that you basically opened me up to during the healing process. And a lot of interesting things just started happening since then. And so when I saw that you were available for people to share their spirit baby stories, I said, well, I actually have some. So I thought it'd be great to just share that with people because I feel like it's not something that's really well known. At least it definitely wasn't for me. And again, it was extremely healing. So I just think it's something really helpful for people to be aware of that they can heal with in such a difficult time, but also like tap into. It's like a whole other world.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that about the way I supported you. I always think like I just kind of show up and then I disappear. And then I'm like, sometimes I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but I really appreciate that because it is a big area that I have a lot of love for. And it is your journey. It's both of your journeys together and how you're kind of moving through grief and hope and inspiration. And it's all like mixed in. So then you're reaching out and you're going, I'm going to share. So what happened? So you have your loss, and then what was the big thing? I know there's again a lot of deeper other shadowed emotions, and feel free to share whatever's comfortable, and both of you too, William, like we want to hear your journey as well.
Yeah, I think first, after we had our session with you, there was a couple things that had come up. One being like a baby's name, and during the session, we really couldn't we couldn't remember like who that was or seem to have any connection to it. But literally, like shortly thereafter, or during that same day, it came to our mind that we actually were thinking about for the girl the name Star or Stella, which he has an aunt named Starlina. And we were like, well, we shouldn't use her exact name. So maybe instead of Star, go with Stella. So that was like a very real thing. And we were kind of like chuckling about it afterwards. We were like, oh,
Hmm.
so that was a one major connection for us after the session that during the session we couldn't quite put together, but right after it came to us. And then something else that happened during the session, you mentioned for him that there was like an eagle.
Oh yeah. So we I think after the session we attended a tennis match. And after the tennis match we saw the singer Seal. He sings a song fly like an eagle. At that point, we
Mm.
didn't pay it much attention. We're like, okay, that's Seal. He's walking past us. He's seeing us eat ice cream after the
That's pretty
day.
cool.
He's looking at our ice cream like he wants some.
Yeah, he was.
Um, so we didn't put any, we didn't, I didn't think about anything besides, okay, that's just, a singer, right? So then maybe like a couple of weeks later, his song just randomly pops up, Fly Like an Eagle. And we remembered having the discussion about eagles, prior to that.
Mm,
But at that point, at that time, we didn't put two and two together that he had a very popular song, Fly Like an Eagle. Eagle was something that we really spoke about and mentioned, but we didn't put two and two together until like the song came on. And I'm like, wait a minute, how do we not even put two and two together at that point? So that was, I think, major for us as well. And then we were also during that same weekend, we were at like a lake house, and we saw like a bunch of eagles just flying around at that time too. So it was just something, right? Like to have that song play and then go outside and see a few eagles flying around. It was
that's
just,
wild because
yeah,
I'm still waiting to see a good eagle over,
yeah,
like for
yeah,
years. I'm like
yeah,
everybody sees. I'm like, where's this eagle? And then what an incredible
yeah,
opportunity for you to be open to, like because you could have just been
yeah.
like whatever, right?
Yeah, I didn't really put it together until I heard that song. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Seal sings a song. Wait a minute, we saw Seal like a week ago. So it was just one of those things
You're
that
like
we
he's looking at our ice cream. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
What a good
exactly.
story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was one of those random moments, but yeah.
And the funny thing is, the eagle came up for him, not me.
Yeah.
And he was actually the one that saw Seal at the U.S.
Oh
Open. He looked in
wow.
ice and I didn't see
Yeah.
who was that Seal. So I looked up and it was. So
Yeah.
it was very connected to him in that way.
Mm,
And
And
it's
I
just
feel like you're both sharing something important with the symbolism, with the language of energy. It's
yeah.
like I feel like with baby energies, sometimes I'm like, am I going to really say this?
Yeah.
Because it feels like it just feels so bizarre. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? Just say whatever. Because I've had really interesting things. I laugh now because like random stuff like Winnie the Pooh or something. And I'm like, it's not something, but it's like it sometimes it doesn't show up right away, is what I've noticed. And I think it's meant to make us, I do a lot of, I'm a very future person. Like I go future, I'm here, I'm like, I don't, sometimes not even on purpose, by the way, it's just happens. And so then I'm like, am I living in the future all the time? And so sometimes people will see things later on, or they have to really sit with where your own energy is to see, oh, what's this connection? And I really do believe that babies are with us and they want to get your attention. And what a great way to get your attention by going, okay, we're gonna have to do something really, attention getting, And I want you to share, like, I know you sent me that message with the picture. It was
yes,
amazing.
that was amazing. So that was literally, we had the session with you that evening. And later that evening was when we remembered the name and then the Fly Like an Eagle song. But the next morning we went out. It was for Labor Day weekend. So we were at an Airbnb lake house. So we went outside to watch the sunrise with some coffee and looked up for the sun. And instead, I saw a guardian angel in the sky. I think it's the spirit baby angel. And I couldn't believe it. So I actually grabbed my phone to take a photograph to see if it would even really show up, see if it was
Yeah.
real, because I couldn't believe it. And I'm looking to see what would cause a reflection in that way or trying to, become logical with it. And
Yeah.
no, the photo's still saved on my phone and it still very much looks just like an angel. I really
So
think
this,
that was
so
the
did you
spirit.
see, so you just kind of, were you seeing anything with your physical eyes, or was it more like, I just feel like I have to take a picture, or what was that?
So I went out with my physical eyes to try to watch the sunrise with some coffee. And when I looked for the sun rising, I saw that and I couldn't believe it.
Interesting.
And it was literally like, the miscarriage had begun. So I
Hmm.
was fasting and, the night before. And so, yeah. Um,
That's right. When we connected, you were in the middle, right? You were kind of moving through the birthing space, right?
yes,
Yes.
waiting for it
Yeah.
to
Okay.
happen.
Wow. I mean, this picture, maybe I can try to feature it on YouTube. I'm not sure if I can clip it in, if you're
Mhm.
okay with that, because
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. Like it just, when I saw that, I was instantly like, this is not just a
Mhm.
lens flare or something. And I know I've seen this with other, I mean, it is very distinct image of an angel. Like it is so obvious. And what a beautiful, powerful message. You're literally experiencing the life and death within you. And then you see this grandiose divine energy of light with you. And I feel like a lot of people are praying for that. Like, where's mine? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's such an honor to be able to receive something that's just so in your face. And so, what happens after? So you go through the loss, and then what comes next for you?
So after that, I definitely kept going back to that picture later to see like if it would just like look normal or just like a
Yeah,
sunrise on my phone again, or just because I still was in disbelief about it.
yeah.
And no, it's still there, and I still look back at it, and it's really beautiful. It really like since then, like I said, you opened my eyes not only to the healing process, but about this whole spirit baby communication thing. So I picked up your book and started working with that. Because of course, like even though I healed with you, I feel like it's normal. There's still that question of like why and like kind of like is this the end of the journey? Should it continue? That kind of stuff, and just trying to connect with them more. Especially also, I think I was kind of inspired to connect with them deeper when I saw that in the sky. Just practicing that pretty much like weekly with the book. And you open my eyes to it not having to be a scary thing because I was a little afraid when I began initially with the Walter's book. I felt a little scared that night when I first tried it. So using your book and the newer practices as well, I feel like it wasn't scary at all, and it actually became very playful. I think since then, I
Mm,
have to say, like as odd as it may sound, it's brought like some playfulness to my life. Whenever
mhm,
they communicate with these like random like kiddish things, and sometimes they're miraculous beautiful things,
mm.
so it's very like heart opening and also like playful, I would say. So I think since then my life has become playful and like very like miraculous in ways too, which is like really beautiful. It really
What an awakening. It's like, oh, I love that playfulness because
yeah.
when we kind of connect with the spirit of a child, it's like it is this grandiose, like divine light. It really is. And we can really shift that connection with babies to bring them into more of this reality and that sense of playfulness that you share. And I've had a lot of babies come in that way where it's like, Mom and dad need to play, like, because we don't really play. Think about it. We're all so serious. And like we're always like, oh, I should play or I should do something fun. And sometimes I notice for myself, like if I'm not playful enough, I'm like, wow, I feel really serious these days. But then I also feel emotional because I'm like, I feel like I'm not doing enough for myself since I'm doing for everybody else, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'll be like, well, what can make me play? I have a 9-year-old that can activate play, but that's his play. But sometimes for me, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna get the hula hoop outside, or I'm gonna go get an ice cream, which feels very kid-like, or I'm gonna go, I don't know, just do something that's just goofy or silly. And I do think, yeah, our children remind us of that because we're remembering, right, that energy, right, you have feels really good. But I want to talk about, so this feels really important. Something you said, you were scared of like spirit baby communication. What do you think that's about?
Yeah, so I tried with the Walter book, the very first exercise. I think it was like the one for miscarriage. I had attempted it.
Mm.
And this was when I was waiting for my miscarriage to happen. And I tried it at night before I went to sleep. And what ended up happening is like I felt something like pulling both my feet. That seemed
Oh,
kind of playful, so that wasn't the scary part. But then
okay.
something came and like hit the center of my head here while I was in bed, and that scared me because it was like forceful and it seemed like not kind. And that's when I actually reached out to you because I said, I don't think I'm doing this right. And if anything, I'm contacting the wrong thing. So I got scared, which is why I reached
Yeah.
out to you. But it was a blessing because you actually helped me to really heal properly and move through the miscarriage.
Mm.
And then I got your book to do your communication practices. And those have definitely been like very, very beautiful and playful.
Yeah, and I could see that would be scary. You're getting knocked around. You're like, what's happening? Especially in your bed where it's like your safe place. It's your relaxation, and then you're like sleeping like ugh,
I
with the
got so
covers.
I got so scared. I
Yeah.
told myself with your book that I would try it
Oh,
during the day. Don't do it at
yeah. There you
night.
go.
That had something to do
Well, good
with
for you for not giving up. Sometimes I feel like the idea of spirit baby can make people nervous. And it's important to see that because you've overcome, like, oh, this is experience. And maybe am I shutting down or am I opening up? I feel like we all do that, like with different experiences that are very in between worlds. You were making me think when I was 15 and I opened my energy up to this world, I got really scared. And probably because my mom took me to a cemetery from the 1700s, like in the East Coast, which is like, come on. But I didn't really know. I knew there was something a little different about me, but I didn't really know fully what that meant. And so I remember the experience was like, it freaked me out. And I remember like just feeling really jumpy in my house. I was like in my room, like, there's the closet. Is it shut? And I'll never forget it because in that moment, even at 15 years old, I knew whatever happened, we opened a door that could never be closed. And in that feeling wasn't fear, it was just like I see the world a little differently now. And I'm sure that was an initiation that I was meant to keep opening and feeling the confidence and comfort of that I am going to be a person that is has one foot in each reality. And I have to be okay with that because I feel like you're saying, like you're expanding into it. We don't want to shut ourselves down to be because it's who we are, right? You're not going to just be one thing or, or you're feeling like you're forced to be, a certain person in the world.
yeah.
Uh, did you feel like any of you have like extrasensory perceptions when you were younger, or is there something you've noticed? Does it feel like maybe you're more coming into it now?
For me, I feel like you definitely opened my eyes to that too, because I didn't even know about the clear sentience thing, which is like the touch, and it seems like it's been consistently a lot of touch. So you opened my eyes to that. I would say that is new, but I will say like I have always had like dreams, like lots of dreams that have been sometimes scary. Um, so for me, it's been a lot of dreams, and sometimes when I was a kid, I did see a few things, but as a kid, parents don't really believe you, so you kind of just shrug it off to like you must have seen a scary movie or something that then made you see what you saw kind of thing. So I think that I guess it has always been there. But I don't think I've ever developed the touch thing until now for whatever reason, or maybe it was always there and I never knew, but I feel like that one's really come to the forefront and was never a thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, I have a feeling you were always like that. But again, it's the environment plays its certain role for us. Like the environment, like my environment in that space at 15, I think my mom and dad were very self-involved. Do you know what I mean? Like they were so involved in their own stuff that like having this extra sensory perception child wasn't a big deal. Or I probably didn't even really talk about it with them that much, a little bit, because my mom did seances.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, she was doing seances at when I was 15 and she's like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "No." And I realize now I was probably protecting my energy too because I think she opens it up too much, if you know what I mean. Like there's a difference between too open and what is she really pulling in? And it was actually the seances she would do. She would go to, it was called the spy. They're still there. It's like a museum, a spy house on the coast of New Jersey, and it literally is in books for
Wow.
being historically like it was a time they call it the spy house. So it had a lot to do with war and just keeping an eye through the ocean and this building and this space that carries. Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that anymore, but it's in the books as a haunted space. And I'm
Wow.
all like, haunted? No thanks. I'm glad I had the wits about me then to be like, I don't know if we're going to take any weird energies home. Because a kid could be very easily tricked, right? And then next thing I know, I have these weird energies in my home and weird things start happening. And I think that's the fear that people have because there is going to be all kinds of energies. And usually when I come back to like spirit baby energy, spirit baby energies are so much love. It's there's no like there's such a powerful like you can feel it and you would be able to sense if there was a difference, you know. Those that are tuning in are probably like, "Wait a second." Because I know that's the fear people have. Like, what if I call in something dark and creepy and I was like, "Well, you would know that. Like you would feel that. Like that uneasiness of like, oh, something is really weird." And I say that because I want to put the faith back into people's own hearts. Like and if you know, if obviously if you know you're like going back and forth, like, oh, do I feel something? Do I not? It's like it's okay. It's like as you know, it's a practice, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, and what is that? And how do you do like any kind of meditations together, or is it more separate, or the way you both sit in that quiet space?
So normally I meditate, but it was never for like, spirit baby related. So I guess I do it differently. I definitely try to carve out time once a week for just like the spirit baby practices in the book. Yeah, so I take like time once a week to do that. And I would say when I first started, it seemed like things weren't really happening until like a couple days later. So I'd be confused and I wouldn't really put two and two together. But now I would say that as I practice weekly, I really feel like I'll get communication like that same day if I practice it.
Oh
Um,
wow, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. So I have noticed that.
And what about you, William? Do you have any kind of meditation or spirit baby practice?
Yeah, so like I don't meditate probably as often as Christine. But I do meditate every now and then when I feel like, it's needed. So I do take that approach. Not as often. I'm not even sure if there is like a cadence or a real time that someone should meditate, but I do feel like, deep down inside, you basically know when you may need some type of meditation. So, but yeah, I do meditate, and then certain meditations are for certain things, but I do try to communicate, with the spirit babies when I can.
Yeah, I
And
feel
I,
like you bring up something good about meditation. Is like I think we all try really hard to, right?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
oh, I feel like there have been times where I'll do my practice and that same day though, like things will kind of communicate with him and he didn't meditate
Mm.
that day. So
Mhm.
I think because we created them, like we're definitely connected. So like if he doesn't necessarily do something, if I do, it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good to share.
Yeah.
I often say that with the male-female couples, that connection. The feminine energy is very intuitive, has an easier feeling sensibility, and I feel like it can bring the energies together. Because I know sometimes women come and they go, "Well, I don't know about my husband. Is he gonna?" What I said, but he has his own connection. You're not supposed to be his connection. And I think as females, like not trying to rule the whole energy, or like you got to do this. I believe me, I've been blamed for that. And but again, it's like our own self-responsibility that everybody has their own, way of connecting. And I want to encourage. I mean, I feel like I know people are like, oh, I got to meditate or I don't know how to do it. I feel like even if you take 5 minutes of quiet, is actually really good.
Mhm.
Like whether it's in the morning, the afternoon, in the day, and I don't do it enough. Like even last night, I was like running all day yesterday, and I'm like, well, now it's before bed, and I'm like, I'm probably going to fall asleep, but I'm like, I actually tried to just stay up just for 5 minutes, just to be quiet and just to feel the hardest part is emptying my mind, even just for 5 minutes. Can I empty my mind? It's hard, but I feel like when we're in that space, you can start to notice
Yeah.
like there's some powerful, potent energy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's interesting that we want that, but then we're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Like the other day, I just took a moment just to meditate. Didn't really count the minutes, just essentially just did my thing. And, I felt like the babies were basically saying, oh, you just, not take things so seriously and just be playful. So oddly enough, a few moments after I got up out of my meditation, I was walking in the living room and a golf ball fell off of our bookshelf. Now, our bookshelf, the way the golf ball was positioned on the bookshelf, there's no way that you can even bump into the bookshelf to make the golf ball fall. It was just the most random, strange occurrence that the golf ball fell off the top of the bookshelf onto the floor and started like rolling around. So that was just another one of those things. Because then I started thinking, well, maybe I just bumped into the bookshelf or maybe Christine bumped into it, but no, she was on the other side of the place and no one was around besides me, and I didn't bump into the bookshelf.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's so good.
it
Yeah.
just rolled right off of the bookshelf, top shelf, and right onto the floor. So I thought that was definitely something, not nothing.
And I know during the session you had actually mentioned golf, so that was another thing where like, oh, that's why
Oh,
he,
really? Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Gosh,
it
even when you say that now, I'm feeling like this little boy energy laughing hysterical. Like, and I hear this little boy going, Daddy, 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 Daddy. Like, oh my gosh. Like, it's like, and then remember that babies can push, they can push energy. And
yeah,
it sounds like there's a lot of that happening with both of you, a lot of physical
yeah.
kind of, I mean, that is a thing, by the
Mhm.
way. I don't see it a lot with people, but there's something
Yeah.
about both your energies that invites it.
Yeah, and trust me, I know you mentioned the word skeptic
Yeah.
at the beginning. I'm a huge skeptic. I super logical, super skeptical of a lot of different things, but even this occurrence had me questioning, wondering, and trying to figure out the logic to place the golf ball back to figure out how
Yeah,
physical.
you're like getting all the
Yeah,
rulers out. You're like,
exactly.
let's
Exactly.
reenact it. You couldn't
Yeah, and
reenact it,
I'm
could
like there's
you?
like 4 or 5 objects in front of it in order to hit the floor. How did it go around every single object,
Uh,
trying to recreate it? And then I said to myself, okay, this is something
yeah.
I can't explain. And I think that's the main thing. Some things you just can't necessarily explain besides
You
that's
cannot.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know. And I want to encourage you both. Like when you live in the unexplained world, it's not that bad.
yeah, yeah,
Because you were making me think when I was younger and just as I was growing through these abilities, I was like, there's no scientific explanation for it. There
yeah.
isn't. Like, especially when I do medical intuition and I know things about people's bodies and injuries and structures and bones, and they're just like, all right. Sometimes I'll get like, I actually had a couple come in and the husband literally turned in the middle of the session and said, Did you take an intake form with her? And I thought it was so amazing when he said that because I was like, she's like, no. And I'm like, because he was trying to understand how I could know these things.
Wow.
I said, because the skeptical mind will question that, but then there's just another energetic reality that's happening that has information. And I've oftentimes people will say, well, how do you do that? And I said, I don't know. Because I don't want to think about how to solve it, right? Because like you both are saying, is like there is a level of mystery that we just even science and spirituality knows that.
Yeah,
Like you can't make everything fit into some quantitative data. And I know people are always trying to do that, but it's like, can't we just let them be their own things? Let them be separate.
hmm,
And there are things, but it's okay. I think you're saying something important is like we are going to be skeptical. I think it's everybody though.
yeah,
It takes a lot for me to be skeptical, but when I have like moving objects and things come up, then I get a little bit like, whoa, what's happening? But
yeah,
I've had so many interesting things happen that I'm like, I mean, I was like, can I be skeptical? Like, I don't know. Like, there's too many things like that happen that literally just have no logic or reasoning behind it. And I
yeah,
pay attention to that. Or I hear people's stories. There's
yeah,
this little boy who said he was visited by starships, and I'm not going to be skeptical over that. That's his own reality. Whether he's making it up, whether it's real, it doesn't matter. I'm like, that's his story, and there's something in that for him. And I think that's where it's important for us to like to be seen, right? In our own connections and how things happen. But that's pretty good with the golf. Yeah, the
yeah. I mean, we walked past that bookshelf, thousands of times, and it's never happened. And it just so happened the moment after I, meditated and connected that it happened. So it
Did you
didn't.
go play golf after?
No, no, we were at a driving range like a few weeks before that.
Okay.
So yeah, very interesting, right? Driving range connection, and then after that, the unexplained golf ball just falling off the bookshelf
Yeah. And I
right
love that
after.
it came
Yeah,
up in the session because I don't remember. I tell everybody with the greatest of love, I can't remember every single detail of a session.
yeah,
There's a way I
mhm,
literally feel like I must have some kind of amnesia. And then when you talk about when you were just talking about some things, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. But then, like, I don't remember anything about a golf ball.
yeah,
I was like, okay, like, that's why I get all like, I don't know what happens with people after. I'd like to believe that. But I appreciate that you sharing that. Also, what other things came up? I know you were sharing a lot of things to me in the email. Anything else you feel like sharing?
Yeah, definitely. In addition to, I guess I kind of jumped ahead because there's so much, but I would say before more of the playfulness and of it, I would say in between there at the very beginning, after the miscarriage, there was definitely like some, I think like some lineage healing going on because I had gone to a doctor's appointment and they told me at the end of the doctor's appointment like some certain information, and I went to go pick up a dessert on the way back and it ended up having a dandelion as like a little garnish on it. And then I later, based on what I learned at the doctor's appointment, learned that getting some dandelion tea would be helpful for the situation. So I ended up picking up dandelion tea and making that like a normal drink for me. And so later we went for his birthday with his parents, and I brought the dandelion tea. And his father started opening up about how his dad used to make dandelion wine and how he used to go to fishing trips with his dad and how he realized he was kind of like a bad kid because he kind of said his dad was kind of mean, but then he was like he was actually kind of bad though. So I feel like it was kind of like this whole like connection to his lineage with
Mm.
dandelion and also a little bit of healing because I feel like for his dad was like taking a step back, like maybe my dad wasn't just such a bad guy, but I was kind of like a bad kid too. So I think there was definitely some of that, and you also really interesting as things happened since then that you mentioned the baby making clothes for the baby, and at that time during the session we really didn't nothing really clicked. But my mom has since then picked up a sewing machine, and she's had dreams about like a little pink dress and a little blue outfit for like babies, and she told me about it.
Mm.
And she's been sewing stuff. And then she recently over the phone was like, I have these lots of extra denim, and I think I'm going to bring it to the Salvation Army. She's like, but I think I'm going to keep it to make like a little girl jean jacket. And
Aw.
I think that they're like connecting with her and communicating with her.
Oh,
She has no idea
definitely.
about the situation. So
Yeah.
I
Wow. She has no
think,
idea?
no. So I really think that that's where that came into play now. It's unfolded. We didn't see it before. And I think they want her to make the clothes. So.
Did they
Yeah.
did you not even share that you were in pregnancy or nothing?
I did not. I was actually waiting for the
Wow.
beginning of the second trimester to
Yeah, I
ship, so
know.
that was
Well, that's
why.
so interesting because that the babies are communicating with her. And here's the thing I love when you shared that. It's so subtle. It's like that's just what baby connections are. It could be you may think it's in your head, like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna, and then it's just such a softness, baby energy to me that people don't, and it's very telepathic. So, well, with your mom's energy, I mean, come on, you're like whole like looking from afar, like, oh my gosh, like and I think I remember saying, I'm like, I'm gonna tell her she's gonna make clothes. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
then I tell myself, you know what? Like just just say the things and I've had that before with like babies like talking about you knitting, and they're just like, oh, I just started it and it's something I never did. And I'm like, okay, because there's something again, it's like babies like I'm here, we're connected. So can we ask them, like, where are you now on your conception journey?
Yeah, so we are actively trying to conceive again. Um, I was definitely thankful for like a very healing and okay miscarriage. Like I know it can get really complex for people and
Yeah.
you just never know. Not just emotionally but physically too. So I'm very thankful that everything processed naturally and we've been actively trying since and I think one thing I've also learned throughout this whole process as well is just like babies are just like such a miracle.
Mm.
So, we're thankful that we were even pregnant at all because we just realize now like what a miracle it is. And I guess like we're leaving it like in God's hands. So, we're actively trying to conceive, but we're leaving it in God's hands and still like, doing the spirit baby communication and, just staying open to like the playfulness of it that it brings to our life. Because
And
like you said,
remember,
life is so
yeah,
serious with all the work all the time. So
yeah, and remember, like when there's any kind of birth loss, especially miscarriage, like in that early time, and like where is your energies going? Like this is not meant to make people feel like, oh, I'm a bad person, I did something wrong. It's actually meant to expand you on some level, but it's like that's where it sounds like you're both like really opening to this other world of energy and keep listening. I feel like that's so important is like, okay, because it is very, I feel like it's loaded, right? It's like, oh, now I've had loss, and your mind and body go to that old space, and that's going to be the hardest thing is like, okay, so you're opening up the portal, you're like, we're here to receive. And I know what you did was really hard when you had to birth your own loss, really. That's what's happening in your own body. And I think we even talked about that too. And that's a lot of courage and bravery and love to go, okay, because you're wanting to tune into nature, right? It's like you're wanting to just, and no, there's no instruction manuals outside of you, really. Yeah. It's like well, you maybe even we'll go into there when we're coming up to the end, but like what kind of loving advice can you give to a woman that's like really in the middle of her own birth loss and she's scared?
Yeah. I would say definitely to book a session with you for just like the healing process of it all, really.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like it gives you that connection. And I think that helps you to just not feel so alone. And I think the not feeling alone part really
Mm.
helps to just have like go through it. I think it takes away from the fear because then at that point you're more encapsulated in like a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
And
that.
what can you say for like your partner, so William, like how has he supported you in that? And what do you think a husband's role, a partner's role is when you're going through loss? This could be really helpful for people.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not just the woman. The man definitely experiences it too.
Mm-hmm.
And for lots of men, they have to try to hide their emotions. This is not everyone, but a lot of people, it is common that they're kind of like feel like that's something they need to do. And I feel like if you can connect together, it can let you guys actually come closer because you can see like the vulnerability for the both of you, not just the woman. And then also I think the man can also really see how vulnerable the woman is at the same time to be carrying this and have to release it naturally. And so I think it can make them kind of naturally be able to know when they need to like be your strength at times or just like really try to be even more supportive when you need it. I feel like it all just kind of kicks in if like when you both try to heal together and connect on it together and not just try to um, act like it's just for the woman to feel sad or act like it's something just that the woman is alone and needs to go through.
Mm.
The woman doesn't need space necessarily. It's like it's happening with the both of you because the both of you created it. So I think that's like really important just to know that it takes two. And so like the two of you are going to need to heal. And then there is going to be times where like the man is going to probably learn and really see like how much the woman actually has to take on for the two of you sometimes. And so like how can they like and so I feel like they'll naturally start to support you maybe in ways you didn't even think they would or could or have.
What can you add to that, William? What your experience, and then like, what would you say to fathers?
Yeah, I would just start off by saying that, fathers, soon to be fathers, definitely not alone. We're not the first, and we definitely won't be the last, to deal with this situation. But I would say the first thing would be is to obviously communicate, with your significant other, right? I think communication is definitely key, especially having those not so easy, tough decisions, and not so easy, tough conversations as well. So I would say the first thing is, just being able to feel safe to communicate, not only your thoughts, but also like your emotions as well, because, things can be tough, especially when you're talking about, this topic, but to definitely communicate your thoughts, communicate and be open with your emotions, and just to really just, I would say, educate yourself on the topic as well, right? Because obviously women and, they're going through it physically, right? So in my opinion, women probably have more education on the matter and the subject than men, but I think it's helpful, especially from just an educational perspective, just to understand what women go through, and understand this journey from a woman's perspective. So I think that's key, as well. But I think the top thing, if I had to choose one top thing, would be communication, right? Communication via
Yeah.
experience, communication via emotion, communication, whatever the case may be, communicating because I think a lot of men try to just bottle their thoughts and emotions up, and it's really just not healthy at the end of the day, right? So yeah, that would be the
Thank you
main
for
thing.
saying that because I don't think we talk a lot about the male's perspective of loss because, you have a different
Yeah,
connection. And I hear what you're saying. Communication is so valuable and there's so
yeah,
much love between both of you. And that's so beautiful to be able to build that together because you're both in the space of loss and fear. And I do feel like having a really good grounded partner as, you're going through that loss because your body has to then release that. And then there's so much self-care, but there's also like I feel like the partner's role is like, how am I serving you? How are we connecting? Like, do you need to rest? Like, what do you need? And sometimes women don't get that. And I don't think it's on purpose. I think there's a lot of fear with
yeah,
death and loss and maybe even frozenness with some partners. But I like that you're talking about communication. It's like at least talk about the feelings if
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I don't know how to step up for you, or what's this about? And you make me think about, I remember with my husband when I had midwifery care with my children, and he pretty much went to every midwifery visit with me with both children, and he really wanted to.
Mhm.
And like you're saying, like he's very logical, very grounded, and it's like he wanted to understand the whole process too. And
Yeah,
I remember with the second one, they pulled out a big chart and they were just showing me things. And so he's looking at the biology
yeah,
um I've always felt like, oh, do you want to, I would love for him to come. But then I was like, well, maybe he doesn't want to come. And he's like, no, he wanted to come and be a part of all of it. And
mhm.
it's like, that involvement. And I know a lot in our cultures, usually, if even like, wow, how long ago? Like 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, fathers weren't allowed with mothers in hospitals to birth. The
Wow.
fathers had to stay on the
Yeah.
outside. I know, I think I was born where they were just letting the dads in 1975, by the way. They were just letting the dads in. And I'm thinking that's so sad.
Yeah.
Like that we didn't get to have that. So like my older brother, like he, there was separation. But
Mhm.
now it's like when I had my second born, my husband was there with both children, but the second born, he actually physically caught him because
Mm.
the midwife said, "Put your hands here," and he was like freaking out. He was like, "What?"
Mhm.
He was just scared he was going to drop the slippery baby. But it was so beautiful to be like, all of a sudden, she's like, "No, this is you," and it was like, "What?" And I actually have a video of him going, "Whoa!" He was like, "Really? Like, what's happening?" Because I wanted to see my birth, so which is really powerful to see. So I made somebody like grab a phone. I did. I was like, grab a phone, get a pic. I wanted to see what it was like. It was so different when you're in it than someone else. And so there's this moment where my husband's like, he literally was like this because he had vernix all over his hands, like the white creaminess of baby. And he was like this. I was like, that's what you show the camera. Obviously, he was nervous because I was like, that's a, like, he's all like, not that we're showing it to anybody. It's just for
Yeah.
us. It's not going to be on Instagram. But it's just, again, what I'm coming back to is just fathers are so important in
Yeah.
all the spaces. And I so appreciate you sharing your experience with that.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're coming to the end now. Any final words or thoughts that you want to share with maybe the community or just, yeah.
Um, I would just say the playfulness definitely continues. I had like a Cat in the Hat theater tickets for New Jersey pop up on my phone. I wasn't even ever looking that up. It popped up on my phone.
Love it.
And I'm seeing cherries everywhere, and apparently they're symbolic of the twins, which we have twins. So
Mm.
it's like it's really amazing. It's very much like real. It's a thing. And I think it can definitely help you through the miscarriage process because you won't feel so alone. And so the connection and the spirit baby communication is definitely worth it. It's worth practicing.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And maybe you'll come on again in the future and you'll have your little babies here. That's the timeline I'm holding for you both. And again, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I know that can be hard, and you showed up, and we so appreciate you for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
And I want to thank everybody for joining episode 240, April 2026, Spirit Baby Stories, the New Earth Children of Today, real Spirit Baby stories, real connection, and real truth. Thank you for joining Spirit Baby Radio with your host, me, Kelly Meehan. Please join my community and stay in touch with monthly energy rants, Spirit Baby poetry, and get access to Spirit Baby 101 with tips and practices at my newsletter at newearthchildren.com, and join me on Instagram with lives at Spirit Baby Medium, and join the Mighty Networks, the Spirit Baby Collective membership, and Motherhood to Mediumship. Remember, you are the heart that holds communication, and it is your time to connect. Come share in the great shift of your mind and the true spirit of your heart with Spirit Baby Communication.